everyone, this is Vidita Chatterjee, your host for today. Today we have someone who is an author and neuroplastician, a psychologist and a speaker. Not only that, he has been also felicitated with the international awards like Star of Asia and national awards like Jewel of India for his contribution in the field of medicine and mindfulness. It is indeed an honor to have you on board with us, sir, today. So, hello, sir. How have you been?
Oh, I've been great. It's pretty good. I mean, post-COVID, the scenario looks much better now all over. I think even in West Bengal,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
fantastic.
That's great, sir. So I'll begin with my question.
Yeah.
And my first question to you is, you're such an inspiration to every individual out there, but how did you actually start your journey?
Right. So we are basically dealing with more of edutech, education industry. So my journey starts when I was studying. When I was in school, and like all children, we were extremely competitive, and sometimes this competition gets to us. Sometimes we do not know how to channelize our energy. How do you actually make it more positive for you? And I'll give you a very simple example. If you have an exam, or you tend to overdo it, or you underdo it. So if you overdo it, you get exhausted, you get tired, you get distracted. And I think every child, every student must be going through that. So my journey started when I was in school, and I was say in the fifth standard, and I was in the top three. And suddenly my rank started dropping down, and for no damn reason I was coming 9th, 10th. And that used to, and I was lots of reasons why this was happening. Probably I was getting too distracted. Sixth, seventh standard, you want to play more, you want to enjoy more with
Yes.
your friends. So that kept coming in. So by 9th, 10th again, you gather yourself again. You started getting, you get good marks.
Board exam.
Yes, board exam. So this kind of seesaw journey is with every student. Now, my mind was not anything special, but then it goes with everyone. So when I went into the MBBS, again the MBBS, the same issue, and you tend to do more exams when you are in the higher, like for yourself, or the students who are doing degree courses. You tend to get this very often, and this is where this whole thing came. Why do you get distracted, and how do you get yourself back? And the journey is that in the youth you are trying to get your mind and focused into thing, and then there are things which pull you off, and there are things which you pull you in. And for some
Definitely.
it's natural, for some it's given, like God given gift. I mean, they have their parents, like I had a friend who was whose parents were IITians, so they had this thing of focusing and doing again and again. So even he got distracted after a certain time, and he had to drop out a year for that. So why does that happen? So this questions kept ringing in my mind. So I used to do a lot of meditation at that time. So we, like religion, we used to have this 1 hour, 2 hours meditation. Again, that was meditation itself became a distraction. So these things kept on rolling in my mind, and I finished my MBBS, my surgery, but these things never went away. I finally gathered more research, met a lot of students all over the country, all over this thing, and all standards, all different things, the first to the 10th to the degree holders. And then I realized that there's something which was missing. And that's when the journey, and now we have gathered into a program, a system where we have actually analyzed, and we have come to know, and we recently published in the international journal regarding our findings, that what actually happens and how you can actually control that. That's what everyone wants to. So this is something, it's all started from my school days.
That is huge, sir, and that's great. So, sir, you have achieved so much in life. So, was it all pre-planned? Like you said, you were going through it. So, does this just gradually came up to you, or were you planning it?
No, no, it was never planned, and I believe it's very difficult to plan life. And
Yeah.
planning for my life and my career, it was completely unplanned. I have started from civil engineering, starting wanting to do civil engineering. Then I said, no, I don't want to. Then I went in for medicine. And from medicine, right now I'm into the edutech. And it's like, from one end to the other end. Mindfulness was never my subject, but then I went into the neuroscience part, where I started researching what happens in mindfulness, what actually happens in the brain. And that thanks to my medical knowledge and experience, then I realized that what actually happens. I mean, we just go and sit down for 10 minutes, meditate, but what happens in the mind, and how actually we can use this to benefit from it, get our focus back. So all this was, completely unplanned. Never thought of it. It just keep coming. But yes, the seeds were sown in my fifth standard, but I didn't get my marks, and that kept biting me again and again. So whenever something bites you in your life, let it live. Let it live, because it will give you the direction one find. That's what I always, believe in it very strongly. Let yourself not be at peace that, it's okay, I just let it go. No.
Like that triggers you to get it
Yeah,
more.
I mean, what we end up doing it, either we say, like, when we go to these colleges, we ask who's a genius in the class. They all look down to the first standard, class, the guy who stood first, second,
Topper.
topper. He is the genius. No, it is not like that. It is never like that. But as we go into lower standards, less than the fifth standard, you'll see the entire class coming up and saying that I'm genius. Now that's where the difference, the belief goes on. And this is exactly where this belief, how do we live it up? How do we keep getting it? These questions which you have in your mind, how can they end up? And how do you let it live? Because with so much of information, feedbacks from parents, families, teachers, so much of judgments, it doesn't become easy for anyone. Forget a child, even for adults, because you're being judged again and again. ये बराबर किया, ये नहीं बराबर किया. This is done well. This is not done well, and then this becomes like a, it's a
You lose the spirit.
lose the spirit, you lose the confidence, you lose the belief. The big word is belief. Everyone is a genius. Everyone has questions. Everyone's life, I mean, you can see anyone who has succeeded. They have a very normal life, but they let that question, they let that hunger, that instability be a part of life. They didn't just wish it away. Nahi, it's okay. It's okay that I didn't get marks. It happens, No, it doesn't happen. Why? Where? What we can do? And this is where you can actually change what you want. We change something in the world. That's what we are looking for. So that's the thing. Yeah? Next step.
That's that's really interesting.
Yeah.
So, in your second book, you have mentioned about neuroplasticity. So, what is it exactly? If you just could let our viewers know.
It's neuro is brain, and plastic we all know. Plastic bends. So if you want to bend the plastic, it bends. But our thoughts don't bend. Very fixed. Very fixed in what we think. So I'll give you an example. Like I just spoke about exams, you may have a different experience. Somebody else might have a different experience. So everyone will come up with something different. So they'll have a fixed thinking. So for like example, if I have done very well in my exam, I'll be very happy. The moment you say the word exam, I say, oh, this is this, I do this, I've done this, I plan like this, I do this, and I'm successful. If somebody's not done, he'll be like, oh shit, then you talk about something else. It's negative. If we are able to change that, if we are able to change that process, that is the whole process of neuroplasticity. And there are some reasons, and there are some ways, and there are some reasons why laws which actually prevent us from doing it. Of course, experience is one. How do we change that? And how does normal a person change in his life? Say, for example, you are traveling from say from your college to your school, so college to your house in a bus every day or a taxi every day, and you feel this is the best way. One day you get traffic, and then you say, no, this is wrong, this is not this thing, so I should go by train. Correct. So what happens? The experience changes it. But if you are able to bend the thought, you will yourself understand today there's a rally, there's something going to happen, I should use the train. This is where the thought bends. And this is what we try to put in every child. And that's the way you can grow, you're receptive to others' ideas, you're receptive to new thoughts, new changes, and this is what neuroplasticity means. And the science of teaching it is called, neuroplasticians. They teach how to change and bend the way they think. It's of course used also in for stroke patients, students, people who are having stroke and they're not able to move. That is more the anatomical part, the physical part of it. But if you talk about the mind, this is what exactly it means, neuroplasticity. And that's what we have tried to formulate as 10 laws. And then how you can do it, it is easy, it is possible, you can change it, and you can come up with something new, which you can't even believe that, this can be possible. So that's what it is.
Wow, so that is so interesting. So, sir, you have trained around 10,000 kids and around 11,000 adults. So How was this feeling? Like, was it challenging to you, or how did you just feel about the entire process, like mentoring them?
Yes, so it's very easy with the, well, comparatively easy with the children. Children, they have this soft, their minds are not so hardwired. They're not having such a fixed thinking. Adults is more difficult, but yes, it is possible. So we use mindfulness as one of the tools which actually helps in breaking that. So if you have that fixed thinking and you want to break it, you need to come to a state where it is completely zero, where you are not thinking good, not thinking bad, you're not judging. We don't like to be judged, but we love to judge. It's a very common thing. We say
Yes.
this nahi hai, barabar nahi hai, your shirt barabar nahi hai, so this is not a good thing, or this dress is not proper, and this is very common. It happens so fast in the subconscious mind that we are really surprised. I mean, before we actually do it with our conscious, we have already thought around 10, 15 thoughts, and we are already telling नहीं ये बराबर नहीं इससे बात नहीं करना, ये बराबर नहीं, लड़का बराबर नहीं है इससे नहीं बात करना, लड़की बराबर नहीं है. There is the shot. So this is where you can keep on changing. So when we meet these kids, then we try to explain to them, we try to make them realize their problems, what exactly is the problem in their thought process. For example, I don't believe I can do in good in maths or the subject. So we make them realize. After realizing, we get into that process where we try to break it, and then we get into this whole thing where we can rewire. How he? These solutions are not given by us. These solutions are all inside you. For example, if you want something, you know how to get it. If I advise you, you will listen to me once, twice. It's like that. Very good speakers, they come up with good stories, and you listen to them, you love it. 24 hours, 48 hours. After that, it all evaporates.
Yeah.
Resolutions. Beginning of the year, we decide. I from today onwards, I will study 6 hours a day. I will not watch TV. I'll not do this. 2 days. After 48 hours, it starts dwindling up. So this is where this whole resolution. So it's very good to see with these kids, and what we have seen is that how they deal with failures. That was something which was a revelation for us, and that really motivated us. When we took the first batch, we realized that the kids were very good with failures. They were very coming up with this new neuroplastic thought, nahi hota hai, maybe I have failed and I'm going to learn something new, and probably I'll be better at that subject. That was some of a big shocking thing for them. And whereas one of the small children, I think around 6 years, she was there, and her father was an alcoholic, and he used to keep coming every day at the house, and he used to beat his mother. And this girl used to just get scared and cry, and so sit in the 6 or 7 years old. That's it, first standard, second standard. And she used to cry inside and get scared. So we started this practice with her. We started these sessions with her. I think around the sixth or the seventh session, her father came down to us, the school, and he came up and told us, okay, what have you done to my child? We were like, what has happened? The principal called us and kya hua, kya aapko, kyun? What have we done? She just stays for 1 hour with us. He said, yesterday I came home. I was very angry with my wife for some reason, and I just shouted at her. And after shouting, the child went into the class. I mean, father calmed down and sat down. She came with a glass of water and gave it to the father and said, Papa, you must be very tired. Have a glass of water. The man just got it. What the hell is happening? He's just beaten his mother, the child's mother, and the child is behaving like that. And that's where the child realized she could feel the pain of the father. And then the man came up, and then the principal explained, "आप मार रहे थे ना? आपने मारा था ना? You had hit your wife, right?" And the child came. So I don't think it's a good thing. Do you want her to get affected? She was crying, and she used to get scared. Now she's telling you to she's finding a solution. And that day, that father decided, I will never touch my wife again. Because he felt embarrassed. He fell in the child's eyes. And this something was a very big revelation, and that kept us moving on with our program and refining it, finding out why this is happening, what is the science behind it, why the child suddenly changed. And that's exactly where this whole journey. So this 10,000 kids I speak of, they have all different stories to tell. And they have this own their relationship, their personal relations, their breakups. I mean, these all can't be measured. But then they have their own stories, and this is something which is very interesting. The silence is something which was completely unintended, and we ended up getting it in a very, very big way. So that was something which is we realized we are contributing something to this generation, even adults with bank managers. They had fantastic resilience coming up with their frustration in their work and their personal life, and that's something which drives us and that makes us feel like wow, we are making a difference to a lot of people, and we can do many things so that they can have a better life. It's already stressed out.
Absolutely.
It's a very stressed out life which we all are living in. And I always feel this generation is much more stressed out compared to what we were
Absolutely, sir.
and all. It's much difficult. So that's it. Yeah. So,
Indeed, great. I don't know what to say. I hope everyone's story is different, but this story really moved us. So I'll not wait. I'll proceed to my next question, so, which is you have received several awards like the Star of Asia, Jewel of India. So what was your initial reaction to it?
of course, you. Of course, the moment you hear it, you feel appreciated. I mean, getting a positive feedback is one of the best way you can drive a person to work more. We
Yes.
end up doing that. I mean, we don't do it very often. We end up giving up. It's a human nature that we end up seeing negative things of a person much earlier. And
Hmm.
it's not just because of who we are or what our family is. It's because of our inheritance. It's from some of forefathers, you can say, because we were trained in that way. So if we had our forefathers, then we were at that generation in the forest and all, we were taught that we should be scared of things. If there's a snake coming in, if there's a lion coming in, you should not go in. So they were very bitter experiences. So this has been imbibed in our DNA, and that is the reason why we end up feeling the negative part first. So this is one of the prime reasons we end up seeing it. If you open any newspaper in Kolkata and Mumbai, the first whole page is all full of negative news. They never speak up the positive first. And that's exactly right. Because negative drives news channel, negative drives, and this is where this whole thing. So whenever you are talking about positive, you always end up feeling much better. You always feel, wow, I should do more. When I got these two awards, I realized I should do something more. Not for the award, but then yes, because we could see that we are changing people's lives, and that's what our purpose of life is. So,
So success has covered you, like you have seen a lot of success, but apart from success, you may have faced a lot of failures also. So if you just could share one or few of your failures and how you succeeded in that failure.
many failures, full of failures. There may be few successes which we have, but it's full of failures. I'll give you an example. What we just spoke about an idea. So we had a lot of students which we were trying to teach. We had these stories, and we met a very senior minister in the state, and he was very much interested in the education. And we tried to make him understand the idea and what we are trying to do. You implement in your schools, colleges, institutes, and try to get this thing, part of the curriculum. And you won't believe, he just said, "Ye to kya bada baat hai?" This is so. This is done everywhere. You go to your gurudwara, you go to your mosque or your temple. ये सब तो होता है. इसमें क्या बड़ी बात है? You talk to me something concrete. So we were very depressed. We are doing such good work. We've seen 10,000 students. We've met with them. We've taught them. We could feel the vibe, the positive vibe with them. Why is this guy not doing? Because if we scale it up, if we can reach lakhs of people, we can make it a part of all the teachers doing it. Then why not? And that really demotivated. Very frankly, it really demotivated us because he was one of the very few who were really keen on the education front. So that demotivated us, made us very upset. Then we sat down. I think 2 or 3 days we were completely upset and we were like, wow, why he didn't agree. Then it just clicked our mind because we can't measure these things. We can't measure how a child will be resilient, how a child will be. Um, your engagement levels have improved, your focus levels have improved, and that's where exactly we realized why this certain gentleman was not agreeing to us. Then that again, that resilience, because it has to come in, there's something wrong. And then we started researching. Then we started finding the neuroscience part, why this brain is working, how to measure it. And then we came up with this idea of coming up with this EEG machines. We asked him from the United States, and we started measuring the waves, the brain waves. And the students who are succeeding, how they are studying, how their focus is improving, the engagements are increasing. When we started doing all this, we realized we could actually measure them, improve. So we met the same guy again, and we presented it to him again. Now he says, now this is making sense. So he said next year probably he will be putting it into the entire state, and he will be seeing that this is part of the curriculum of everyone. So this is something which we have failures. Failures have to come. Failures have to come. If failures are not there, then there is no. I mean, actually, we tend to tell children celebrate your failure because they have some hidden meaning in them, and that hidden meaning is the one which drives you to the right journey. We don't want to do something and then fail. Rather than if you're getting this thing, it may be a block, but it gives you a better way. You end up thinking more, finding a way around it. So I always say, whoever it is, any child has failed in something, it's okay. Maybe you're meant for something bigger. Maybe you're meant for something which is not what you need. So you may be a fish which is trying to run on the land and try to defeat a deer. No, you don't need to do that. You need to go in the water and get it done. So you're not in the right place. That's what it means. So nobody's a nerd, nobody's a genius. Every one of us. But then you need the right place to groom and grow. So that is where
Absolutely.
yeah. So that is where exactly we realize that this is somewhere failure is a very big topic in our subjects or when we are teaching children. Failure is something that how you can make how can you make maximum out of it, and failure should be embraced because once you start embracing failure, believe me, success is bound to come. Goof up big time, goof up big time. I have goofed up the worst way in my life is when I was called in for a lecture in my first year MBBS in front of 3,000 3,000 doctors, and I had to give a lecture on a particular topic. I went on the stage and I said thank you. I looked at everyone, froze, and I came down again without delivering anything. And it was the biggest group of the entire auditorium was laughing their heart out. And that's what it is. And then you feel like that. You feel that negative, but then yes, it drives you. And that is the day I decided, no, I have to do public speaking. I have to learn how to talk in the public, and that kept on driving me. So if you have failures, always embrace it. There are multiple. I mean, I can start talking, I may talk around 50, 60, 70, 80, 90, but there are many incidents, and it's with everyone. It's with everyone. Whoever listening, I mean, I will always say it's a part of your life. Embrace it. The moment you embrace it, success has no option but to come to
So failure leads to
you.
success.
It has no option. It has to come to you if you start embracing failure. So if you're not scared of goofing up, very good. If you're not scared of making the biggest blunder of your life, fantastic. Then nothing can stop you. Then only you learn. Then only you think of something else. If you're not destined for something, you'll listen. So if I was in medicine was my domain since last 10 years. But then if I do not feel that I should change, I would have not changed. I would not have been able to change the way I think. So that's the way life is. So failure has to be embraced.
So thank you so much, sir. This was definitely a very insightful session, and I definitely have gained a lot of knowledge, and so has our viewers.
See,
So thank you for giving so much of your time, sir.
sure, sure.
So thank you everyone who has been in tune with us. This is Vijita Chatterjee taking your cue for today. Until next time, till then, stay safe, stay healthy, stay happy, and keep Adda vibing in your life. Thank you, sir.